What's going on, ladies and DeGents? We are live for UFC 303 full card handicap, and I am the one and only Steve, Big Bucks Abeyta. Joining me across the computer screen, it is actually not Money Mansman tonight. It is our normal special guest, but he's stepping up to the plate tonight for this card on short notice as well, like half the card. It is the Spaceman, Sam Celentano. Sam, what's up, brother?
What's up, gang? Happy to join everybody tonight. We got a fire card we're about to rip through, so yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, this is gotta be one of the weirdest, I don't know about weirdest card ever, but like situationally, like half these fighters, it just feels like have stepped up at the last minute. I think like we literally had like the meme I saw, it was like where it was Jamal Hill and
Yeah.
literally, it went from a black fight to a all white fight. Like,
Yeah, nah, it's crazy. So that Jamal Hill fight, it was supposed to be Jamal Hill and Khalil Roundtree.
I was looking forward to that too.
Khalil Roundtree couldn't fight, and Jamal Hill had to drop. And now we got Roman Dolidze versus.
Well, no, and even worse, it was I think Anthony
Smith.
Lionheart Smith steps
The
up.
ghost of Anthony Smith.
Carlos Ulberg, and then Ulberg drops out, and now Roman.
Oh yeah, it
Dolidze.
was supposed to be Carlos Ulberg fighting.
And
against
Roundtree
Anthony
suspended
Smith.
for a year for steroids of all things. Like,
Dude, this is not good. Like light heavyweight division's getting kind of kooky right now.
it's been kooky for a while. And then speaking of kooky McGregor, fucking popping out on a broken pinky toe, which I mean,
McGregor and his little itty bitty pinky toe, bro.
Yeah, itty bitty pinky, but I gotta give him credit where credit's due. And I know you saw the breaking news. Khabib Nurmagomedov's compound in Dagestan gets raided by the Russians.
Yeah, Eagle FC got raided because apparently one of the students there, his brother took part in like a terror attack in Russia. So this is an unfolding story. There will be updates. Actually, let me check the gram for some updates because this happened earlier today.
Yeah, no, definitely. Give me one quick second.
Yeah.
There we go.
My
dehumidifier making a shit ton of noise. But yeah, no, so we got that breaking news. Then we got Pereira and Prohashka stepping up on short notice. Both those guys coming off knockout wins in UFC 300. And I know we're going to get into the main event later, but just like quick, I mean, does this feel like a quick jump for both these fighters to you? Do you feel like this is appropriate? Do you feel like Uncle Dana had some commingling in this situation, given the Chandler McGregor fight being off now?
I feel like it's a good fight. I mean, we're going to see it at some point or another. I think Alex Pereira really is gaining a lot of star power in the UFC. He's really becoming just like an all-around lovable guy. His personality is starting to show. He's starting to come out of his shell a bit more and just really show like who he is as a person. So people are getting to like know and love him. The guy's hilarious. I mean, he's just comedic. He's comedic gold. Like he doesn't even try to be funny, and he's just absolutely hysterical. So I've been a big Alex Pereira fan since the Glory days when he hit 2 champ status. The only double champion in the Glory promotion.
Absolutely.
Full kickboxers, legendary kickboxing promotion out of the NL. Shout out to Glory. Glory rules. But yeah, I mean, reached double champ status there. So the sky's really the limit for him. He could be a triple champion in the UFC. I think one day he might. I don't know if it's going to be while John Jones is champion. Probably not.
That's the problem. It's like
Probably not. And then I think once John Jones leaves, Tom Aspinall is going to rule that division for quite some time.
That's a bold prediction, but I can't fault you for the logic. Tom Aspinall is just a beast.
Tom Aspinall's a different breed.
He literally Tom Aspinall is so good. The only man that could stop him is his own legs, and when they shatter on him.
And then he's fighting Curtis Blades. I think that's at 304. 304 is in Manchester, right?
I think that's correct. We'll have to look into that later, but I mean, just on the short notice too, and it's like now you got this McGregor Chandler situation for a third time, where like, are we gonna get it scheduled? Are we gonna see this fight?
It's
Is it
starting
really?
to cross over into like like cursed fight territory, right? Like
Yeah.
Tony Ferguson, Khabib Nurmagomedov. We're getting some weird vibes here with this Conor McGregor Michael Chandler fight. Will it ever happen? Who
Exactly. And that's,
knows? Who knows?
I don't know. And for me, I really was, and you know me, like I will always go and watch a Conor McGregor fight. I always
Yeah.
love seeing the guy on the screen, no matter what. But lately, it was like this to me was like the fight you should have made back in 2018, 2019, when Connor was kind of living off of his hype at the highest. Michael Chandler probably at his prime up in Bellator. Like this was the fight you wanted to see then. Now it's like another 6 years after that, maybe 5. And it's just like, Chandler still has the fight game, but it's like, is Connor really in it? And this was the fight where I was kind of hoping Connor kind of shuts up all the doubters and just, shows that he at least whether he wins or loses, it was like he still has the commitment to show that he's in it for the game. But
yeah, I don't even think Conor really wants to fight anymore. I really don't think he wants to fight anymore. I think I just like he has too much money. He has too much like prestige, whatever. He's already done it all. He doesn't really have the motivation to fight. Motivation to fight anymore. So I think it would have been a good test for him to see where he's at in his career. Whether he wants to keep fighting or thinks he can compete. I think he's always going to think he can compete at a high level. Even if he doesn't have the skills, he's always going to have the ego that's going to drive him to try to compete at a high level just to prove to himself that he can do it. But I think Conor's washed. Honestly, I think Conor's washed. And I was looking forward to Michael Chandler. I was looking forward to him losing another fight to Michael Chandler, but I don't know, man. I don't know if this fight's gonna happen. I'm the type.
I don't know.
Like after 3 cancellations, you gotta shelve it. Like you, like
shelve it and move on. Which I think Uncle Dana's even gone to show. Like Dana's even said, like I'm not even making any announcements till Conor just tells me he's ready because it's not worth it.
Yeah,
which it sucks for Chandler, especially with how much he was trying to promote it, how much he was trying to hype it up. But honestly,
really all in for it.
Yeah, but with the rest of this card, though, I got to say, if you're a casual, you're probably looking at this card and thinking it's trash. If you're a true UFC fan, a lot of big name veterans on this card coming up, and a lot of good matchups for them too to see whether they still got it or whether it's going to be a new era, new generation of fighters, in my opinion. But with that said, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I think it's a really good card for being put together on such short notice. I mean, they really had to flip around a bunch of fights. I think they had to flip around like maybe 5. It was like 3 or 5 fights fell through on this card.
Yeah.
Including that light heavyweight bout we just talked about that fell apart like multiple times. So really being able to put together a quality card on such short notice is another testament to just Dana and Hunter Campbell's ability to just make things happen, which I like. We take shots at Dana all the time, but it's because we love him. Like Uncle Dana's a goon, but I mean we love him because he gives us quality fights. He doesn't always give us quality fights. Sometimes he gives us like cards, and we just sit there and we're like, "What the fuck is this?" Like,
but we're still watching it. That's the problem.
We're still gonna watch it, but we're like, "This is garbage,"
like, and you know what? Like he always says, like there's only one spot, and it's the UFC. And it's like, and don't get me wrong, I've watched PFL, I've watched Bellator. They've never just been able to get on the same level as UFC, and I don't know what it is, but they just can't get there. And Dana just until probably till the end of his life will continue to hold that spot. But, with the short notice, with everything going on, like I think we got 13 fights to get into. We're giving you all a full card. Yeah. Right now we are live on our YouTube. We are also live on X. And with that said, I think it's time we get in the early prelims. UFC 303, 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Fight is at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas tomorrow, Saturday, June 29th. And I'm watching the ceremonial weigh-ins. It looks like Pereira is donning the headgear already. So will there be magic? I don't
Will
know.
there be magic? I don't know. Yo, that was crazy. You're probably just saying no magic. That's crazy. That's like one of the craziest things I've ever heard. He was like, "Yeah, we can just like cut the magic and everything." It's like, "All right, Mr. Samurai, whatever you say, buddy."
Yeah, no kidding. All right. With that said, let's get into the madness that is the early prelim. Or is he ranked? No, he's not ranked anymore. My Lord. It is Ricky Simone in the bantamweight division going up against Vinicius Lockdog Oliveira. Hell of a fucking nickname. Gotta love the Lockdog. Lockdog 205 underdog on DraftKings. Ricky Simone is a minus 250 favorite. Both of them have 20 wins. Oliveira has 3 losses. Simone has 5. Simone is coming off a decision loss to Mario Bautista in his last fight. Oliveira, 3rd round knockout against Bernardo Sopage. Over-under is set at 2.5 rounds. And Sam, I always leave the honors to our guest, but you are stepping up on short notice here. I'm going to start this fight off with you. We normally deem this the money man's special, the first fight. He usually loves to go for the underdog here.
Yeah.
Are you going to give an argument for the lock dog to take this one, or are you going back Ricky Simone?
I'm going with my man Vinicius Oliveira because that flying knee against Bernardo Sopage was crazy as I don't know what. It was just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful flying knee. One of the most vicious flying knees I've ever seen in all my years of watching fights. And I've been watching the fights, y'all, since like 2007, 2008. So it's been a long time. I've seen a lot of action over the years. But yeah, no, I like Vinicius Oliveira. See, the only thing that I'd be concerned about with him is his cardio, because he did start to wither away towards that 3rd round with Bernardo Sopage. And I don't know if Ricky Simone is going to bring out the wrestling, and I don't really know how Vinicius Oliveira is going to fare against that. I think Ricky Simone probably has a little bit of a better skill set, but I'd say over his last like 5 fights, he's kind of been deteriorating, and he hasn't really been like that top-notch fighter. And you can see that in him dropping down in the rankings. So the fact that we're talking about the fact that Ricky Simone used to be like the number 12 bantamweight in the division, and now he's unranked. So he's been on a little bit of a skid. So I'm going to take Vinicius Oliveira. He's coming in with some momentum. So low dog all day. I'm taking my guy. And I think this isn't going to be one of those cards where I'm calling all knockouts, but I think if he does win, it's going to be by the finish. I was looking at his statistics, and he has 13 wins by knockout, if I'm remembering this correctly.
It's 16 wins by knockout.
16 wins by knockout. He's 20-3, 16 wins by knockout, 14 first-round finishes. So I'm expecting my man Loke Dog to get it done tonight. Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night. Lock Dog to get a knockout. 4-1 odds on DraftKings, guys, if you want to get that. I'm actually going to go opposite here. I'm going Ricky Simone here, but it's kind of a slight lean. I'm not as confident as my counterpart here. The reason being for me is, like you said, it's the cardio. There was a lot of cardio concerns with Vinicius Oliveira. I don't really think he's been proven into the later rounds. I know the flying knee was epic, but the only other time he made it into the 3rd round was against Ali Talib back in UAE Warriors, and he ended up getting knocked out himself. Ricky Simone, I know he's on the 2-fight losing skid, so I know he's trying to get back in the winning column. He lost against Song Yadong in a 5th round where I know his cardio came into question. Song Yadong ended up playing the long game and really just kept the distance and basically just outstruck him the whole fight. This isn't a fight I really don't see Vinicius Oliveira being able to do that as often, because Ricky Simone does have that wrestling skill. And what I'm concerned with is that Ricky Simone's going to utilize that to wear down his cardio the whole fight. And then by round 3, he'll either squeeze out the decision or he's going to get a late knockout because Oliveira might be too tired and he'll end up being just a tad bit slow. Mm-hmm. So I think the path to victory, like if I want Ricky Simone, I would lean decision, to be honest with you, if I had to pick. a method. I'm going over 2.5 rounds here only because I just don't see the early knockout. Oliveira, he'll play the long game too. I'm just worried about that cardio, and I know Ricky Simone will be able to hang tough in those later rounds, in the later moments.
Yeah, that's where my concern is too with that cardio. But I think on the feet, Vinicius Oliveira probably has the advantage. But if you take it to the ground, he does have two submissions, so he's not really a threat on the ground. But if you take it to the ground, I think he's probably at more of a disadvantage there.
Yeah,
Sure.
and with that said, I know Oliveira only has a 1-inch reach advantage. He is 3 inches taller, so it just kind of leans into me to thinking like I don't think this is going to be a big striking game. I think the path to victory for Simone, it's going to be the wrestling and the takedowns. Which looking at the takedown defense here, Oliveira only has a 40% takedown defense, where Simone has a 76.
Yeah.
So for me, like that, I think that's the path to victory. If you wanted to double chance a submission with Ricky Simone, good luck. But I just think Ricky Simone just out wrestles him for 15 minutes, gets the decision win, gets back in the win column.
Good pick.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Next up, we have up-and-comer Ray Soroya going up against Carlos Hernandez in a flyweight bout. Soroya 9-0 is a minus 470 favorite, coming off his 3-0 victory in the road to UFC. Carlos Hernandez is a plus 360 dog. He was 3-2 in the UFC, over under set in 1.5. Carlos Hernandez, I got this note. He's 0-2 as an underdog, and Soroya has won 8 of his last 9 by finish. I'm not going to overthink this one. I know this is a standard UFC vet versus a new up-and-comer. This is the kind of fight for Hernandez. If you lose this, you might be out the door. I think Soroya is the real effing deal. I really like what this guy is bringing. And we just kind of saw Hernandez fight a similar type of opponent in, oh God, what the hell was his name? God, why can't I not pronounce it?
No, you got this. You got this.
Hold on. I got to look it up. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, hold on. I'm looking
Carlos.
it up.
Where the hell are you?
Carlos Hernandez.
And it's going to bug me the minute I see it. Tatsuro Taira. That's who it was. That's why I was messing up. I wanted to say Tai Tuivasa. I was like, that is not even close to that. Tatsuro, he fought a guy that's very similar in fighting skill and literally built and everything in Tatsuro Taira, and he got knocked out in the second round. So on one hand, maybe that's an advantage. He has experience in that, but on the other, like, I think this guy's even more of a threat. And this is actually going to be my best bet for the prelim cards. I'm actually taking Soroya by finish here. It's minus 160 odds on FanDuel. I don't see this going the distance here, folks.
Yeah.
Soroya is this guy is a threat.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Hernandez, I just don't know if he tends to give his back. That's another part that scares me. When his back's against the wall, he tends to give it.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't do that against a guy like Ray Soroya.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I'm taking Ray Soroya too. I just think the Japanese fighters have a lot of momentum right now with like Tatsuro Taira, who we were just talking about, and Ray Soroya, and then you got this other guy coming in from Ryzen. I was just reading about. I forgot his name. He's like a multiple-time champion, and he fought in. Did he fight in the UFC before? Yeah, he did fight in the UFC before, and then he left to go to Ryzen, and now he's coming back again. So this guy's about to be a problem. But, yeah, Japan's got a lot of momentum, especially in that flyweight division. I think we're going to see some future champions coming up along the way. So, yeah, I really like Ray Soroya by finish too. I'm going to take him.
Yeah, and one last note to make for Carlos Hernandez. He had those 3 wins he got in the UFC. 2 of them were split decisions against Victor Altamirano and Daniel Bairez, who I don't even think they have winning records in the UFC. 0-2 for Bairez, and for Altamirano, I think he's 2-3. if you count 3-3 with Dana White's contender series, so he hasn't really beaten a guy in the UFC that's above 500.
Yeah.
So for me, Soroya by finish, that is my lock of the
that's easy money right there.
Yeah, and I'm hammering that. I'm hammering that 2.5 units there, folks. So that's my big play there. And as far as the over under 1.5, you could lean over 1.5 if you want to get cute, but I think the way to play it, like you could play it by round. Soroya first round knockout, Soroya second round knockout. Split whatever you would bet on the over under and just put it on those. And I think you'll probably have more of a way to profit from that angle than you would by playing the over under. But yeah, Soroya by finish, lock it up. All right. You ready for the third fight?
Let's do it.
Let's go. We're into the heavyweight division now, folks. It is Andre the Pitbull Arlovsky. 34-23, 2-0 contest. Plus 220 underdog against the 13-2, minus 270, Martin Buday. Over under is set at 2.5. And I wanted to say the crazy odds I found were the odds for this to go to decision. I'm going to try to pull this back up real quick. But I think it was actually favored for this to go to decision for a heavyweight bout. So, yeah. Sam, what's your take on that, first of all? And then second, who do you have?
So I kind of think the odds makers got it wrong. Martin Buday is kind of a boring fighter. The couple of fights I've watched with him, he's just been fighting tomato cans. He hasn't really fought anybody. And I don't really think he's like that exciting of a fighter. So I'm going to go with my man Andre Arlovsky to get it done. I mean, he's way past his prime. The guy's still in there fighting, though. And you got to give it up to him. You know, he's definitely solidified gatekeeper at this point. But I just don't really see Martin Buday putting it on him. I mean, he has good cardio, but I don't think he has, like, crazy knockout power or anything like that. He's kind of slow for a heavyweight. So I think Andre Arlovsky can get this done, taking it the distance for sure. That's really how I have this one. That's going to be my upset pick, my other upset pick for the night, Andre Arlovsky by decision.
Well, buddy, I think we're in lockstep so far. This is actually going to be my dog on the prelim card. I'm taking Arlovsky 2 plus 210.
Nice.
A lot of the same reasons you said, but I'll even dive further into it. Who has Martin Buday beaten that really impressed you?
No one. That's
Chris Barnett. Literally Chris Barnett.
Chris Barnett. I remember that fight.
Jake Collier.
Yeah, Jake Collier is a tomato can.
Josh Parisian, that was his last fight. He won that by first round submission, which was pretty cool. But
I mean, lost to Shamil Gaziev. That was his last fight. And you saw what happened to him. He got pieced up by Jairzinho Rosenstruck.
You should have seen. I went on a good 20-minute rant about Shamil Gaziev and the effort or lack of that he put in after the second round.
Yeah, he gave up.
Yeah, no, I am not laying this type of money on a Martin Buday.
Buday's fought nobody. He's fought literally nobody.
He hasn't, and I know Arlovsky is on a bit of a skid, but even if you look at the betting trends and the betting angles, think of it this way: the books, at least at DraftKings, but I know FanDuel and MGM and everywhere else, it's minus money. They're saying there's a higher than 50% chance that this fight's going to go to decision. And if you just look at these two fighters and you're going to go to decision, who would you rather have backing your money? Andre Arlovsky, who is known to constantly go the distance to win. Now, he lost last time to Waldo Cortez, but
yeah,
this guy has no cardio issues. He's been known to knock out guys. He can hang and he can stand and bang with these types of guys like the Martin Budays of the world. It's when he gets up to the real contenders that you kind of have to start wondering, if Arlovsky still has it. But I mean, Arlovsky, he did a similar fight years ago, Carlos Felipe and Chase Sherman. the vanilla gorilla. These are the
Yeah.
same types of fights we've seen Arlovski get into. And every time he takes it to the 15-minute mark, every time he gets the unanimous decision win. He just knows how to fight against the pretenders of the heavyweight. It's the minute he gets to the real deal, you have to start worrying. I know Arlovski's on a skid, but you look at who he's fought. He's fought some real guys, in my opinion.
Fought everybody. I'm just looking at this. He got murked by Tom Aspinall in 2021.
Yeah, like Waldo Cortez Acosta, that was one where like maybe you missed it.
Got KO'd by Dontel Mays. I don't know how that happened.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, I remember that one. Marcos Rogero de Lima, like that was a rear naked choke where he just had he lost his back. But this is a good bounce back spot for Arlovski. I love the 2-1 dog play. And I mean, look, I would play the double chance, and I'm going to try and find that right now because I don't want to be that much of a jerk. But Arlovski to win by knockout or decision, I mean, plus 215, so it's slightly better. If you want to play the exact method and, you know, Arlovski by decision, you can get plus 330 if you really want to get cute. But I mean, that's the way I would take 2 units and spread it out. I'd play the over. I'd play the fight to end by decision. Arlovski money line. Arlovski by decision. You know, I would like sprinkle the money that way. I wouldn't throw it all just on the money line because I think there's a way like it could go to decision, especially if it's a split decision. You never know with these judges, and that's a concern you have to have all the time. But no, but my best play, like this is my dog. I got to go Arlovski here. I just see him winning this one.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't think Martin Buda is really like he doesn't impress me at all. There's just nothing that really stands out about him. He's just I don't know. He's probably going to end up, you know, he's either going to get cut or he's going to be like a top 15, maybe a top 15 guy if he's lucky. But
maybe. And Arlovski, I think this is like his last go around. I think if he loses to Martin Buda, you really have to start considering retirement bouts.
I think he's going to retire soon regardless just because he's been fighting so long. You know, he's coming up on 60 fights, so it's just getting ready to be that time.
Yeah, exactly. All right. And headlining the early prelims, we got a women's strawweight fight, but at least it should be a good one in theory. It's the number 14th ranked, the Karate Hottie, Michelle Waterson Gomez, 18-12 record, plus 154 dog, going up against number ranked 15, Jillian the Savage Robertson, 13-8, minus 185, coming off of a win. Waterson, I think, is coming off like 6 straight losses now.
God dang.
I think. Like, she has not.
I don't remember the last time she won, if we're being honest. I really have no idea.
Yeah, this one, God, I don't know how she still has a job. I'm not going to lie. I love me some Karate Hottie. Don't get me twisted, but.
Hey, we love Michelle Waterson Gomez. She's a great fighter, but.
God, all love and respect, but like, I'm pretty sure it's been 4 straight. I'm sorry. She's lost 6 of her last 7. Is what's happened. Her last win was against Angela Hill back in 2020 during the COVID season.
Wow.
God, that is not good.
That's really bad.
Yeah, Jillian Robertson, 10-6 UFC record. She has actually won 3 of her last 4. Last win going up against Polyana Viana, where she got the second round knockout there.
The breaks off of her. It wasn't even close. That was not a competitive fight at all.
The return of Polyana Viana was greatly overstated, to say the least.
She got destroyed. It was just that was a Sunday massacre, folks.
It was. Yeah, and look, all logic, all the numbers do dictate you should take Jillian Robertson. I don't know if I could do it. I don't know. I think this is a no bet for me, but and again, I'm going to kick myself in the nads for this. I know this is not the right pick, but give me Michelle Waterson here.
Oh, you're
on
crazy,
the upset. Give me the upset. Because Jillian Robertson, this is the problem I have. Every time I think she's good, she lays an egg. Every time she gets a good win, she lets you down. She's not really a fighter who's known for racking up wins, per se. I mean, removing the grappling stuff, she got back-to-back wins against Piera Rodriguez and Mariah Agapova, both of which, I mean, I made this argument earlier, but I don't think either of them have 500 winning records in the UFC. Technically, Piera Rodriguez does. She's 3-2 if you include Contender Series. But again, this is kind of a situation where like Jillian Robertson kind of beats the pretenders. It's like when she has to fight somebody for real, she tends to struggle, which don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying Michelle Waterson is like the best women's strawweight fighter of all time. I think she could give her some problems though. Personally, I just don't see this as an easy win for Jillian. Like I said, this isn't good, but Jillian has struggled against submission artists. She does have 4 losses via such, which is how that's Michelle Waterson. That's my bad.
Yeah, I was like, wait.
Yeah, I'm probably not making a good pick here, but only 1 loss. She loses by decision a lot. So I mean, I don't know. Like Michelle Waterson again, it's kind of like the Arlovsky argument. If they're going to go the distance, and you have a fighter who just tends to do it all the time, and they tend to keep it close, is this a fight that Jillian just gets upset on? I don't know. I'm not laying any money on this one. I'm actually avoiding it like the plague, but I just don't. I don't like backing Jillian Robertson as a favorite when she's a betting favorite. I like betting her as like an underdog or like a pick'em, or even in a fantasy play. Like this would be like if I'm doing a DraftKings or a FanDuel lineup for UFC, I'm throwing Jillian Robertson in maybe if I have to, just for budget sakes, but you know, not my top pick. So again, it's bad. You can give me shit. Go ahead.
Well, me being Canadian, I gotta go with Jillian Robertson, the hometown girl. We love her. I think she's just getting like into her prime, and she just gets better every fight. Her striking's improving. Her wrestling is already very good. Her submission game is very good. So I definitely think she has the skill set for success. Like you said, she does have a tendency to kind of choke in big moments, but I think as she fights more, she's going to overcome that too. So I'm definitely going with my girl, Jillian Robertson. I really like her a lot, and I definitely got her for this one, especially with Michelle Waterson Gomez on the skid. I don't think this is the fight that's going to break her out of it.
No, that's fair. You know what? Actually, I'm changing my pick. I can't. Yeah. I like Michelle Waters. I have to change. I'm changing it. Give me Jillian Robertson. If I die on this sword, though, I'm going to be very pissed. I'm not betting money. I'm not betting money on this. I can't do it. This is the trash women's fight of the UFC card, and of course, it's 2 ranked strawweight women that like. This is the trash fight. There's another women's fight we're going to talk about later, and I'm actually way more excited about that than I am about this.
Oh yeah, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, I was like,
yeah, this is like the what the fuck fight I could give. Like, if I do make a bet, just take it to decision. Like it's going to go the distance.
I got Jillian Robertson by finish.
Really?
Yeah,
dude.
I do.
Okay, explain your logic on this one.
I got her by probably second round sub. Because I just don't think Michelle Waterson Gomez has enough cardio to really hang in there with her. So I think she's going to get tired out. She's either going to get beat up like Polyana Viviana did, or she's going to get subbed.
Interesting.
On the sub. So I got Jillian Robertson by finish.
You could get that plus 180 on DK. Jillian Robertson by finish plus 180. On the double chance. That could hit. That's not a bad bet.
It's possible. Hey, anything is possible. Kevin Garnett said that once, that means it's the truth.
That's fair. To win by finish, Jillian Robertson 180. Jillian Robertson to win by split or majority decision, 7.5 to 1. Don't know if plus 240, Jillian Robertson to win by unanimous. If you really want to get cute. But I would play. This is a decision fight for me. I want no parts in this. That shit can go. I could do without that fight. But we do have to watch that because now we got to jump into the 8 o'clock regular prelims. Again, this will be on ESPN Plus, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Starting it off, this is an interesting one, and I don't know if I'm still salty from losing money the last time or what, but it's Peyton Talbot, a.k.a. the future Sean O'Malley.
Yeah.
Going in a bantamweight fight going up against Giannis, the Desert Warrior Gamori, who, by the way, come to find out, he was originally slated to fight Lockdog on this card. But with all the moving around and all the craziness, he ends up fighting Peyton Talbot. Talbot 8-0 is a minus 1,600 betting favorite. He was a minus 2,000 yesterday. He was on pace to break the record as the biggest betting favorite in UFC history.
That's crazy.
It's come down, but Giannis is a plus 900, 9-1 underdog, 12-2 record. Peyton Talbot's last win was against Cameron Simon. I couldn't tell you about the last win for Giannis Gamori, but I'll look it up real quick. Let's see.
I got Giannis, dude. When was
here it is. He got knocked out by William Gomez in the third round.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And now he's getting Peyton Talbot.
But he's sauced.
Oh, and this is his second UFC fight. And for Peyton Talbot, I think it's his third. Okay, so do we get cute? Do we look at any other angles? Or is this Peyton Talbot by knockout city?
Peyton Talbot by knockout. Yep. Keep it short and simple. Peyton Talbot is probably, he beat Cameron Simon. Cameron Simon was undefeated. That was a good fight. I'm pretty sure I watched that fight. And I'm pretty sure I did have Cameron Simon winning, but Peyton Talbot really showed in that one that he's a real deal. I like that kid. He can do big things. He's definitely going to do big things in the UFC. He's a highly touted prospect. So tune in for that. You can see for yourself, but I have Peyton Talbot by finish for sure.
Peyton Talbot by knockout minus 180. That's my lock. Don't get cute with it. Don't try and bet the rounds. Because the only concern I would say if you're going to try and bet a round prop with Peyton Talbot is you look at that Cameron Simon fight. He really took his time. He really kept the distance. Cameron Simon was a bigger threat than the Desert Warrior here.
Yeah.
And Cameron Simon couldn't even touch Peyton Talbot's spit. And this could be a quick fight, but I could also see Peyton Talbot just going into the second round without a scratch on his face, and then into the second round actually doing some real damage. So I know there's a lot of value. A lot of the sharps out there, there's a lot of value. They're playing Peyton Talbot by second round knockout, and they're saying there's a lot of good money there. If I was going to play it, I would play the first, but I'm just avoiding it. I'm taking the easy minus money at minus 180 for the knockout. Or it's minus 135. I don't know why I said minus 180. It's minus 135 on FanDuel. Maybe a shot up, but minus 135. That would be my other lock. If I didn't like Ray Soroya more, Peyton Talbot by knockout minus 135. The other reason that scares me is Talbot does have some submission finishes under his belt. I could see him getting a late round rear naked choke kind of situation.
He can win like on the feet, on the ground. It doesn't really matter. He's really well rounded. So I think he definitely brings a lot more danger. And there's just nothing threatening about Giannis Gamori.
Nothing.
Nothing at all.
Yeah, and the thing about it too, Giannis Gamori, he was fighting someone more along his level in training originally, and now he gets Peyton Talbot.
Yeah, it's crazy. Big step up in competition for him, but I don't really think he's up for that test.
It was a big step up in competition, but the step up was from Vinicius Oliveira, who he was also an underdog against. Now he's just a bigger underdog, and it's like I want nothing to do with that guy in that situation, which – I hope he puts his heart out there. I hope he gives everything he has, but I'm not wasting my money. Not wasting my money on Giannis here. There's just there's no Chris Moutinho heart I could see in this guy.
Isn't Chris Moutinho back in the UFC?
He is not back. However, ever since he got cut, I think he's 4-0
Yeah, sounds
in the
about right.
regional circuit.
Oh, he got
So,
ripped up, and they just like, never again.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But it
But
was
yeah,
a poster child for pain for 3 rounds.
hi, I'm Chris Moutinho. I got punched in the face for 15 minutes straight.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Chris Moutinho. I have zero defense. Like my
defense is hands down face presented.
Yeah.
But Peyton Talbot, first round knockout plus 275, second round knockouts plus 320. I'd lean first round. That's my play. Other than the minus 135 finish or knockout win. But all right, moving on. We'll get into a more competitive bout here. This one, again, we got another Canadian. It's Charles Air Jourdain in a featherweight bout going up against Jean Silva, a.k.a. Fat Ass, who was the only one to miss weight. We are now in a catch weight bout, and I believe it's 150, but I could be wrong. So we're at catch weight, and Jean Silva missed weight, but he's a minus 102 favorite. Jourdain is a minus 118. It's really a pick 'em. 15-7-1. I think both of them are coming off of losses. I'd have to look that back up. You know how the rules of the podcast goes. If somebody misses weight, you bet against them, and it's a principle only. But I actually had Charles Jourdain winning this to begin with in the pick 'em. I just like the fighting style Jourdain has against this type of fighter versus what Jean Silva is going to present. Jean Silva really hasn't fought anyone of big caliber in comparison. And it's not like Jourdain, as far as I'm concerned, really got his ass kicked in any of these fights. I think he lost a couple tough decision fights. I could just see this being another one where, he comes in, he might try a crazy knockout. I could see an early submission for him too. I know that Kron Gracie fight kind of threw a lot of people off and took a lot of the air out of Jourdain, but Jourdain was like a real contender a couple years ago. And now he's just kind of been put to the side. Like, you're going to give me this guy in a pick 'em against a Silva who now he missed weight. Can't bet on Silva, so we're going Jourdain here.
Yeah,
plus the 2-inch height advantage too kind of helps.
I like Charles Jourdain. He hasn't been looking good, and I was like really looking into this one. So Jourdain's coming off of a loss, and I'm looking at the grappling here. It says the takedown average for Gene Silva is like almost 2 takedowns a fight with 50% accuracy and 100% takedown defense compared to Charles Jourdain, who has 48% takedown defense and 10% takedown accuracy. So he also hasn't beat on the strikes per minute with 5.83 compared to 5.56 with a 52% strike accuracy. And their strike defense is about the same. Jourdain just takes a slight edge on strikes absorbed. So when you're getting down to real technical details, on paper, it looks like Gene Silva would win this fight. But I don't know. Paper doesn't always tell the truth. So I don't really know who I'm going to pick. I mean, by principle, I usually always pick the Canadian fighter. So my dad's Canadian, so I always got to go with my Canadian fighters. I did get super disappointed earlier in the year when we just took a dump in Toronto and none of us showed up.
Yeah, that was
really bad. But I think Charles Jourdain, I'm gonna have to go with him. I think Gene Silva, like just from a very statistical, technical standpoint on paper, it looks like he should win the fight with his skill set. But coming in overweight, I don't think he's gonna do it. Charles Jourdain's actually a very underrated fighter. He has really good striking. He's really good on his feet. If the fight goes to the ground, it's probably going to go to Gene Silva's way. But he has good striking. He has good cardio. So I think he can outlast him if he just keeps it on the outside and keeps it on the feet. Don't let it go to the ground. Pretty simple game plan there. So I'm gonna go with Charles Jourdain.
Yeah, and last point I'll make, Jourdain, like with him being underrated, he lost a split decision to Sean Woodson and Shane Hurricane Burgos. And Nathaniel Wood was really his only real loss, but like that was also a really tough fight. That wasn't like it was a one-sided victory, even though the scorecards might tell you. Like Jourdain really hung in there that fight.
Yeah.
So
I just think robbed his past couple of fights, if we're being honest.
I think you can make that argument for sure. I wouldn't hold that against you. But I think, like, I don't know, man. Like, I see how Jean Silva fights. I see like Charles Jourdain, and it's like who do I want to back? And again, you look on paper, Jourdain, he's 6-6-1. Silva, I think, has the winning record. I'm trying to pull it up right now. It's just
he is
a Lord Assassin is 2-0.
He has 75% of his KOs of his fights are by knockout for Gene Silva, with an average fight time of 9:36 compared to Charles Jourdain's 12:31 with a knockdown average of 0.78 compared to 0.55.
I mean, that's true, but like this guy, he's only had 2 UFC fights under his belt, one of which being
not really saying much.
And he beat the guy he did knock out, went 1-2 in the UFC. He was 0-3 in LFA. Like, he really wasn't that good. And then Jean Silva, we're going to come in here and we're going to say this is a pick'em. I know we said, like, wrong guy favored for the Arlovsky fight. I think this – I'm surprised that, like, Jourdain isn't a bigger favorite here, if we're being honest. I think this is a great value play, too. So,
yeah, he's minus 130 on the official odds, and Gene Silva's plus 110. Yeah, I'm looking at him.
And now it's flipped to a pick'em on DraftKings. So it's like maybe there's sharp money coming in on Silva, but I just don't see it.
Yeah,
I'm not seeing it here. So for me, it's Jourdain or nothing.
Yeah, he lost to Sean Woodson, but then before that, he beat Kron Gracie. Kron Gracie's a tomato can.
Gracie can stay on his back.
Yeah, and who is this? Ricardo Ramos. Yeah, Ricardo Ramos. So, yeah, I got Air Jourdain. I like him.
We'll go with Air Jourdain here. You could even play the.
Canada needs a win after he got robbed in the Stanley Cup. If anyone else watches hockey, I'm a cross promote here.
I was gonna say, I thought you were the Maple Leafs fan. I was gonna say it. I thought it was Toronto tradition to choke.
We got to cheer for any Canadian team that makes it to the Cup final because we haven't won a Canadian Cup since I was born in '93. So it's 31 years and counting that we haven't won the Cup. So we just need some Canadian team. It doesn't matter who it is to win the Stanley Cup. And Edmonton was that close, but just couldn't close it out. So congratulations to the Florida Panthers on a wonderful series. I mean, that was one of the best Stanley Cup finals I've ever seen. I've never seen a team take 3 in a row, the other team take 3 in a row for it to go to game.
That was a new one for me. And as an Avalanche fan,
that was electric.
I got to say, as an Avalanche fan, that like there was no way the Avs were going to be able to do something like that against any opponent. So like kudos. Like this was, you know what it was? Like we had a really bad NBA Finals, in my opinion, with Boston.
The NBA Finals were trash. Nobody wanted to see Dallas versus
Boston.
Nobody asked for that. Nobody.
That was bad. The Super Bowl was bad.
Who won the Super Bowl? The Chiefs.
The Chiefs again. They beat the Niners.
Oh yeah, they came back. That's right. They came back again. They were losing.
That was so bad. That was bad. The NBA Finals
won that one, honestly. But
leave it to hockey.
I knew the Chiefs were gonna pull it off, man.
Leave it to hockey, though, to get the actual 2 best teams in the league, throw them in for 7 games, especially in the fashion like you mentioned, too.
Yeah, no, it was electric. It was absolutely electric.
That it was beautiful. It was beautiful, but we got. Let's see here. It's not as beautiful as the upcoming fights, but
Yeah.
actually, no,
Yeah,
I lied.
dang
These
it.
fights are going to be something. But let me get your opinion. I gotta ask. Featherweight bout. It's Cub Swanson.
Yeah, old man Cub.
Old man
Old
Cub.
man
29.
alert. Wah,
Old
wah,
man power.
wah.
Old man power. 29-13. Cub Swanson plus 180 underdog going up against Andre Touchy Feely. 23-11. One no contest. He's a minus 218 favorite. Coming off that knockout against Dan Ige, and Cub Swanson coming off the knockout win.
Yeah,
Is this another one where like it's the wrong guy favored? Is there something we're missing here?
I don't know. Like, so I really like Andre Touchy-Feely, right? I think he has a good skill set. He's a good fighter. He's young. He has a good career ahead of him. He has good cardio. I think that Ige matchup was just a bad matchup for him because before that, I think, if I'm not mistaken, he was on a like 3 or 4 fight winning streak. I might be tripping.
I think it was a 2-fight win streak, but
I might be tripping. Let me look into this. Let me do some research here real quick. So he won. Oh no, yeah. All right. So he's sandwiched. So he lost to Nathaniel Wood, which is everybody loses to Nathaniel Wood. He's pretty good.
yeah.
Then he beat Almeida by KO, first round KO, and they lost by first round KO to Dan Ige.
Yeah, no, he got sandwiched between Joe Anderson Brito and Dan Ige, Nathaniel Wood.
It's like he wins every other fight.
Almost, yeah. And even I know we all know he loves some big booty Latinas, so
Yeah. Some BBLs.
yeah. That's what he does. That's what he loves to do in his off season. Cub Swanson,
Yeah.
he's actually coming off the decision win against Hakeem Dawodu.
Yo,
he got sandwiched
Feely
too.
has some of the hardest tattoos in the UFC for
Who does?
Andre Feely, his tattoos are fire.
Oh, dude, same with Cub Swanson though with the SoCal.
The SoCal.
Actually, now that I think about it, this is a big SoCal fight.
This is a big SoCal fight. I don't know, man. I like Cub Swanson a lot. I think he's at the tail end of his career. I think he's only got I don't think he's going for championship aspirations. He's just trying to ride out to the sunset. I think Andre Feely definitely has more to lose in this fight than Cub Swanson does. Cub Swanson is known for his crazy knockout power. So, I mean, we'll see. I'm probably going to take Andre Feely just because I like my guy, Touchy Feely. I think he's going he's coming off of a loss. He's probably going to rebound, take the fight over Cub Swanson. But I don't know. I think Cub definitely has a chance to win it. So, could really go either way. That's a hard pick. I was debating this one before we got on the call. I was like, dude, I really don't know. Cub Swanson could win by knockout, or it's going to be like Andre Feely wins by decision. I mean, so I guess we can do a deep dive and see where a statistical breakdown would be between these two. And that would really be the deciding factor. So if we're looking.
Yeah, I'll give my take, and I'll let you do some of the research. I'm going to pull some stuff up as well.
Here real quick.
Here's my take. This is the type of fight for really both of these guys, more so for Feely. This is the bounce back type of fight. You're going to get a strong opponent. You're going to have a lot of people doubting you. And it's Cub Killer Swanson, but the guy hasn't really been killing as many people as we're used to. I know two of his last 3 wins were knockouts, but it was Darren Elkins and Daniel Pineda. He didn't knock out Kron Gracie. He lost a split decision to Shane Burgos. Frankie Edgar beat this guy. He lost to Brian Ortega, going all the way back to 2017. Again, it's I guess another way to put it, this is a real pretender versus contender type of fight. I just don't I see Cub Swanson as a dog, and I know a lot of people and a lot of betting sharps are not heavy on Andre Fili, and they just think it's a really bad line. And I think to their credit, they're sort of right. But I made this handicap with the Nathaniel Wood fight when Andre Fili fought him. Fili was a dog, and I said he's very much a live odd because Nathaniel Wood loves to play the long game. Fili's the kind of guy that could take advantage of that. Fili will sneakily win a round or two without you really realizing it, and then when it comes to the judges' scorecards, it might come down to the points. Fili, in another term, he's also not knocking people out, but I do really think he does. Not only does he have more to lose, I think he is slightly the better fighter. I see this going the distance. I see Fili winning by decision. That's my play.
Yeah.
Again, not a best bet. I'm not playing an over-unders best bet yet, but this is, to me, like it's Andre Fili by decision or it's Cub Swanson by knockout type of territory.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at, right? I was just looking into it. So checking out some of the statistics, takedowns, we got Fili at basically 2.2 per fight. So 2 a fight to Cub Swanson's 1.9. Cub Swanson is the higher takedown accuracy at 52% compared to 47% on Fili's side. But Andre Fili has slightly better takedown defense at 69% compared to Cub Swanson 61%. So if it goes to the ground, it's definitely in favor of Andre Fili. But on the feet, they're pretty much the same. I mean, no, the advantage goes to Cub Swanson. He has 4.7 strikes landed per minute to 3.85 for Fili. He has a 50% significant strikes compared to Fili's 37, and Fili absorbs 4.1 compared to Cub's 3.8. Cub Swanson is slightly better strike defense at 59% compared to Fili's 51. So Andre Fili's really going to have to be like staunch on his feet or he is going to get knocked out. So I'm definitely going with you, Big Bucks. It's either going to be Fili by decision or Swanson by knockout. So,
yeah, and one more point, and it's more of a betting angle. And this is actually why, because I remember I picked Touchy Fili for a reason, and I couldn't really pinpoint it. 3 of his last 5 fights as a betting favorite, he's outright won. There was one of them with the accidental eye poke where he had a no contest. He's only lost 1, and that was when, if this shit would work. He lost, let's see here. Oh, that was when he got knocked out by Joe Anderson Brito. In the first round.
Yeah, I remember that one. Anderson Brito is pretty tough, though.
Yeah.
He's a solid contender. He's very good.
Yeah, and he was a minus 250 favorite in that fight. But all the other fights, Daniel Pineda, Charles Jourdain, that was a split decision. Bill Algeo, that was a split decision. Lucas Almeida, that was a first-round right hook win as a favorite. But, I mean, it kind of proves my point. Like, this is, depending on which fighter you would rather take, like, there's 2 angles. You get your bonus money on that. You take Fili by decision. You take Cub Swanson by knockout. That's the path to victories for each guy.
Yeah.
I would even go as far to say that, like, if you want to early bet this, I would go Cub Swanson, like, first-round knockout. If that doesn't hit, then go to live betting. So when it goes to round 2, see where it's at. If you can still get Cub Swanson plus money, hedge it. Or even then, if you think it's going into the second and third, based on how it goes, live bet Andre Fili if the odds get even closer. And just get him on a money line. But, yeah, this is a tough one, in my opinion. But it's like, once again, I'm going Andre Fili.
Yeah, we're going to take Andre Fili.
I can't bet against the guy.
Yeah, we like Andre Fili over here.
We do. We love Touchy Fili. All right. Prelim main event. It is the return of Joe Body Bags Pfeiffer. 12-3 going up against short notice Marc-Andre Power Baralt. Middleweight matchup. Pfeiffer is 12-3. He's a minus 310 favorite. Baralt is 16-7 with 1 no contest. He's a 2.5 to 1 underdog. Body bags coming off of a loss to Jack Hermanson. And then Marc-Andre Baralt, I think he is also coming off
He's
of a
coming
loss.
off a loss.
And that was a loss to Chris Curtis by decision.
Yeah.
All right. This one I'm going to keep short and sweet because I know we still got the main card to go through. We're already an hour in. B. Joe Pfeiffer. This is the bounce back fight that the UFC wanted to give him. This is the exact type of opponent that I think Pfeiffer can step back, go back to the basics, go back to what made him good to begin with, which was half of it being his wrestling, the other half being taking his time, playing the longer game, not gassing out and being the one that attacks. He was a lot better on the counter and on the defensive side, which I think Marc-Andre Baralt's going to struggle with here. Yeah, other than that, all I can say is Baralt, like, he's another guy. It's the same thing. He can play the long game. A lot of his fights have gone to decision.
Yeah, he's a workhorse. So Marc-Andre Barrios is going to tire you out, and that's his game plan. Like, beat you on the cardio, and then once you're like all tired out, he's going to take advantage and either knock you out or submit you or whatever. He's not a big submission guy. He's usually going to knock you out or beat you by decision, but
no, he is not a big submission. He's more of a knockout guy than anything, but he does it late.
Yeah.
It's just lately you look at his opponents. Julian Marquez, he knocked out later in the second. He took Eric Anders and Chris Curtis to decision. Anthony Hernandez was a late round submission. Jordan Wright was an early sub. But
did he lose to Anthony Hernandez?
He did. That's right. My bad. He did lose.
No, you're good. You're good. That was a good fight. That was at
this was he knocked out Shidi Nojikani in 16 seconds. I remember that.
Yeah, that was
early. But like a lot of what we forget though is like this guy was like not a good decision fighter back in the day. He lost a lot of decision fights back in 2019 before COVID. Like literally early in his UFC career, he should have been out the door most likely, but he ended up sticking around and getting some pretty decent quality wins. And then it's just like, again, you step up against a real guy, he just tends to choke. No, cheating to Njonkani knocked him out. I don't know why
he blasted him.
Yeah, he blasted him. Jeon Young Park lost a decision. Krzysztof Jotko lost by split decision.
Yeah,
Anthony Hernandez.
I don't think he wins this one. Just Joe Pfeiffer, when he has to fight guys with a lot of power, it's just a difficult fight for him. And I think Joe Pfeiffer has a lot of power in his hands. Joe Pfeiffer, he's a really good striker, and he has really good wrestling. I think he went to Penn State too, so he's a pretty good wrestler. But yeah, I like Joe Pfeiffer. I like his skill set. I like him as a fighter. Marc-Andre Barrios is my guy too. But I'm definitely taking Joe Pfeiffer for the win on this one.
Yeah, without a doubt. And this is actually what's going to be the shocking play. But I have an over-under play. I'm giving out a dog, a best bet, and an over-under play for the prelims and the main card. Didn't give one out for the prelims yet, but I'm going to give it out now. I'm going over 2.5 rounds here for Pfeiffer and Baralt.
Nice.
I like Pfeiffer here. I like him to be... I don't like him to be the aggressor as much. I think Baralt's going to do it more, but I think Piper's going to be able to handle it. And Baralt is also not a guy who normally, like, I know the numbers in the fights that I mentioned kind of counterintuitive, but I think Baralt's not looking to get finished early. I think Pfeiffer is not looking to gas out like he did against Jack Hermanson.
No.
So I could just see this being
a dog.
Like, what I could see this is first round, both fighters really feel each other out. Not much really happens. Second round is when Pfeiffer maybe gets him to the ground, but, like, it takes long. Not too much. It's kind of starting to get disappointing. And then it's going to be in the third. I think that third round is going to be what's key. Because I could see Pfeiffer getting into the third round being told, hey, you got to quit fucking around. You might be down. It might be 1-1. We need a finish. Otherwise, you might lose. And that's when shit could get real. And then Baralt might get blasted. Or Baralt might do the blasting. I don't know. But I don't see that happening. I think Pfeiffer's too good to let that happen. This isn't going to be a 25-minute fight. It's only going to be 15. We know Pfeiffer can handle it. And I just think this is a good bounce back spot. So I'm taking Pfeiffer, and I'm doing a double chance bet with him, and I did it minus where's the number? It was knockout or by decision. That was minus 180. But Pfeiffer by knockout or to win by decision, minus 180 on FanDuel. That was my bet on it because, like, if this comes down to fisticuffs in the last 45 seconds, I'm taking Pfeiffer all day, every day.
All day, yeah.
If it comes down to the wrestling game, if he ends up being smarter than, the last fight, I could just see this going the full distance. I could see this being a unanimous 30-27 all around. So for me, it's be Joe Pfeiffer. Let's go, Joe Pfeiffer.
Yeah, Joe Pfeiffer, that's my guy. He's definitely got this one in the bag. I think it's an easy pick.
Nothing else to say. All right, I'm going to switch this over to the main card here, but any final insights, any other bold predictions for the Spaceman before we get into the main card? As far as
so I'm pretty stoked about these picks. I think this card is like a card that starts out really good. I always like a card that has good prelims because it always lends to it usually gets better as the card goes on and on. So I think we're really we have good early prelims. That's where I think the fights always start. I mean, the fight obviously they always start at the early prelims, but just having good early prelims just really sets the tone for the rest of the card throughout the night. And I definitely think this is a card that gets better as the night goes on. So I'm really excited for this main card. And I think you got anything you want to tell the people?
Yeah, I got a parlay that I was going to wait till the end of the episode to give out, but I'll give it out now. This is a prelim parlay. It's Ricky Simone to win Andre Arlovsky and then Peyton Talbot. Parlay all three. You can get 3.5 to 1 as a parlay, and I think I got it on ESPN Bet, but I think you can get a similar number everywhere else. Feel free to do your shopping, but that's my parlay lock on the prelims. All three of them to win.
Nice.
But I'll give out my other bonus bets later at the end. Make sure you guys tune in for that. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at DeGent Podcast.
Lock in with your boys.
Let's go. We are the Distinguished DeGents. We are live on Twitter and on YouTube right now. You will see this episode uploaded later on Spotify. Make sure you check out my little brother John's podcast, aka the Harbor Discussions channel, over on YouTube as well, where he brings out live sets for Maryland hardcore local bands if you're into that scene. I got nothing else, no more things to advertise. Let's jump into this bad boy. It's the main card for UFC 303, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. We're kicking this off with a interesting sort of banger, but I'm excited in a sense. I'm not sure what to make of this, but it's a welterweight fight. It's the number 7th ranked Ian the Future Machado Gary, undefeated, 14-0, going up against the King of Bellator, aka MVP, aka the number 14th ranked Michael Venom Page, 22-2. He is a 130 underdog. Gary minus 155. Both of them are coming off of decision wins from, I want to say, UFC 300 or 301. MVP defeated Kevin Holland. Neil Magny lost to Ian Gary by decision in his last fight. God, I know
it's a hard one. It's a hard one.
Let's put aside that Ian Gary might be a cuck. I will say, putting that shit aside, great dad. I don't know if you saw the clip where he brought his son into the UFC. It was a DC Megan Levy and all the UFC press with John Anik. Mm-hmm. But he literally just had his kid on the table doing UFC fighter impressions for 10 minutes. It was an awesome video. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I like Ian Gary. I think he gets a lot of crap. I think he he just got caught in like the wrong place at the wrong time, wrong situation. But I honestly think he's a good kid.
I love Ian Gary.
I
I
like
think
Ian Gary. I think he's a great fighter. I think he tries too hard to be the next Conor McGregor. I think that's like a pretty like lame aspiration. Like to be like, I mean, I get you're from Ireland, you grew up, you're probably a kid watching Conor McGregor fight. I think he's only like 24, so dude has his whole future ahead of him. He's a young kid, he's growing up
he's
watching.
26,
Oh,
but
he's
I get
26.
it.
Okay, but I mean, that means he would have been okay. He was born 26. He probably
He was
just
a
turned 20.
teenager. He
He
was
was
a
a teenager
teenager.
when Conor McGregor was like in his prime. It's like 2010 to like 2014 or something like that.
Yeah.
No, or like 2012 to 2014. That's like Conor McGregor in his prime, right? So, no, 2016, because it was after the Khabib fight that he started to go downhill. But like from 2012 to like 2016, Conor McGregor's in his prime. This kid's growing up watching him. He's from Ireland. He wants to be just like him. I think he has a bright future. I think this is a really difficult fight for him. Michael Van Page has a lot of experience, and I see Ian Gary he's not like a takedown guy. He's a very technical striker. But if you're going to go technical striking, like toe for toe with Michael Van Page, like you're not going to win. The dude just has so much wealth of striking experience. I know this fight is going to stay on the feet. Hold on one sec.
No, you're good.
All right. Sorry
Do you
about
want
that.
me? No, you're
No,
good.
no,
You're good.
you're good. No, I'm back. I just had some background noise going on. So, but what I was saying is, Michael Van Page, just has so much wealth of experience. He's a karate fighter. He's done bare knuckle. He's been striking his whole life. He was a high level kickboxer for many, many, many years. A lot of people forget that, but he was in glory. He was a high level kickboxer for many years. So if you just want to strike with this guy, it's definitely not going to go your way. If Ian Gary finds some way to mix it up, try to get to the ground, that would be his best bet. But I think if you want to just go toe for toe with Michael Van Page, it's really not going to be in your best interest. So I'm taking my man MVP. I like Ian Gary. I think he does have a bright future, but I just think this is too much of a test for him.
So you're going MVP?
I'm going MVP.
Whew.
It's a tough pick. I love Ian Gary. I might get this one wrong. I'll admit I might get this one wrong, but I just can't go against MVP in this one. When it comes to just pure striking, like MVP has a solid advantage. He is a point fighter, so his style of fighting is really weird. He's going to give Ian Gary a lot of weird angles, which I don't think Ian Gary is really going to be prepared for. It's hard to prepare to fight a guy like that, who fights that style of fighting. I think this is going to be a biggest test that Ian Gary's faced to like this stage. And I definitely think he's going to be looking to make a statement for sure, which he has done in the past. So I'm not counting Ian Gary out. I don't think he's going to get like absolutely dominated, but I just don't think striking is the best idea for him to strike with someone of this caliber. And I'm taking Michael Van Page, probably by decision.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right. This is probably going to piss some people off, but this is my best bet.
Oh,
I'm going Ian Gary. This is my best bet. I'm locking the future in. There's two main reasons. I'll start with MVP. I did not like at all how he looked against Kevin Holland.
I didn't really like how he looked against Kevin Holland either.
I am not the biggest Kevin Holland fan either, but to Kevin Holland's credit, he's never denied a fight. He's never not stepped up for a fight either.
Yeah.
Kevin Holland, not going to lie, the guy might be more in his prime lately than not. But at the same time, I think if Kevin Holland was giving his best and that was what we saw of MVP, There might have been a reason MVP stayed in Bellator as long as he did. Reason number 2. Ian Gary he just has the most unreal stats that I couldn't. It sounds weird, but like the striking, you mentioned the striking, and if I wanted to be in a striking match, I don't know if I would want to be in one against Michael Venom Page. To be fair, though, I think I wouldn't want to be in one with Ian Gary.
Yeah, Ian Gary has like an insane amount.
He has outstruck
versus like strikes taken. It's crazy.
He has outstruck every single opponent in the UFC except for his debut, where he knocked him out in the first round. But he only had 4. He had 4 less significant strikes than his opponent, but he still knocked him out.
You can take a look at the striking here.
I mean, in the last fight with Jeff Neal, 67 to 46 strikes. Neil Magny, 91 to 27.
Well, that's crazy. I'm looking at the fight time, and Michael Van Page has a shorter average fight time than Ian Gary. That might be just because he's only had one fight in the UFC, but
that might be why. But like,
I think they're talking about career though, which is crazy.
Yeah, and look, I know Jeff Neal and Neil Magny, it wasn't the most exciting fights for Ian Gary either. Like, I will give you that credit. Ian Gary has just been fighting tougher and tougher opponents, and Michael Venom Page comes in and gets the gatekeeper of Kevin Holland.
Yeah, and I think Gary lands 6.27 strikes per minute. That's just crazy.
Like, you're telling me that Michael Venom Page is going to be a real competitor, but to be honest with you, like, I think a lot of people are like discounting Ian Gary here in this spot. Like, Gary is going to be a bigger threat than we think.
I think he's going to step up for sure. I'm just saying, it's like, for me, it's like putting Sean Strickland against Israel Adesanya, right? Like, on paper,
and look, and that's a prime example.
On paper, like, obviously you're gonna pick Adesanya every day because
you know what? 9 times out of 10, I think Adesanya wins. I think the one time they did fight was the 1 out of 10 Strickland gets it.
That's what I think too. I just think Adesanya had a bad day in the office, but I think
it
if you
happens
run
to
that
everybody.
fight back 100 times, Adesanya wins 99 out of those 100 times.
But you know what, too? Another perspective, Ian Gary probably had a bad day at the office against Jeff Neal. Right. If that was his bad day at the office and he still, like, to me, I think that was a unanimous decision, but it was
Jeff Neal didn't even show up.
No, he didn't. Like, but that's Jeff Neal, in my opinion. Yeah. Like, that was nothing I was surprised about from Neal. It was more Gary not showing up and being conservative that concerned me. But yeah. I don't see him being as conservative with Michael Venom Page because I don't think Michael Venom Page is going to let him be conservative. So for me, this is Gary by knockout or decision. I really lean the decision because of how both of these guys have fought last time. I know MVP, he's sort of like, I know he beat Kevin Holland, but his last fight was a weird, if you remember his last Bellator fight, he kicked the dude once and essentially snapped his leg.
Yeah. I mean,
so he really didn't get... He didn't really fight him. He lost to Mike Perry in bare knuckle boxing, which is another prime example of, like, if you're going to really leave it to striking, are you sure Michael Venom Page is the better guy? Because I really don't think he is. I would rather take the guy who outstrikes his opponents every fucking time.
That's a good point.
And I could just see this being, an MVP beatdown. So, like, Ian Gary, like, decision props is in the air. Maybe even a live bet later. Like, if the MVP wins the first round, a live bet could be a possibility. But my best bet right now, I'm getting essentially minus 150 on a guy who's taller, a guy who has outstruck every single opponent, the guy who's undefeated against a guy who's been knocked out a few times, a guy who struggled against a gatekeeper. I know a lot of people are hoping MVP wins for the wrong reasons. I'll bet I think the sharper side is going to be Ian Gary here. So that's my play.
I think Ian Gary has the tools to win. I just don't think the thing about MVP is he's more of a points fighter. So he really fights he's not always looking for the knockout. He has devastating knockout power. Right, he can get crazy highlight reel finishes, But most of the time, he's just looking to go the distance and win by points, like outpoint his opponent, because that's a karate style of fighting, right? It's not like big knockouts, but he has
No.
like some crazy highlight reel knockouts. So it's not like he can't get it done. It's like if the
No,
opportunity presents itself, he's going to take
this,
it.
this is a fight for me
It'll be a good
that
fight.
it's going to be a great fight, but I just don't think that. I think people are discounting Ian Gary too much for bad reasons. I think that, and I think because of that, they're hyping up MVP more than what he really is, and that's my concern. Like if I was MVP, I would be focusing on nothing but wrestling, because I do not want to be in a striking match against Ian Gary. Because if I can get him to the ground and I can control him, I'm winning the points and I'm winning the fight. But MVP really, like, I know he has submissions under his belt, but like how many is it? 4 out of his
Something
7.
like
He's got like 4 wins by submission under his 22. Like, I just don't know. That's the problem.
3 by submission, 13 by knockout, 13 first round finishes.
Yeah, see, and that I just don't see an Ian Gary first round finish. I mean, it could happen, but I just don't see it here. Ian Gary's too cautious, and I think Ian Gary is. I mean, he is the future. I don't know if he is a better fighter overall yet, but this guy is really fucking good. And I think people are.
Yes, this is a huge test for him. Like, this is the best fighter he's faced up until now. It really just depends too, because sometimes Michael Van Page just doesn't show up. So that's the other thing. Like, which does MVP show up? Is he like ready to fight? Does he like go all in? I think he was training with our champion Poatan. I'm pretty sure he got some training with Poatan. So we'll see.
He might have.
We'll see. Oh no, he was training with Was he training with Hamzat? Was I reading that? I think he was training with Hamzat.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Or he was preparing for him. I don't know. But we got to move on. We're on to the women's bantamweight fight in the main event. Number 3 ranked Mayra Bueno Silva going up against number 7 Macy Chiasson. Both of them have 10 wins. Both of them have 3 losses, but Silva has a draw and a no contest under her belt. She's a minus 105 favorite on, I want to say it's FanDuel, maybe DraftKings. Macy Chiasson, minus 115. Kind of a pick'em fight here for both these ladies. Over under set at 2.5. I thought I was excited for this one. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, the more I think about it, the more I wonder why this is a pick'em. I just don't think I've seen both these ladies fight. I'm not entirely impressed by either one. I'm not running to the book. I'm not pulling out my mortgage account and saying, "Here, take all my money, put it on." Like, it's not that easy. But for me, now it's a minus 110 pick'em, so it's literally a split. I don't know if this is the wrong pick, and I'll hear arguments one way or the other, but this is Macy Chiasson all day, every day, no problem.
Do you think Macy wins this fight?
I really do. I don't like Mayra Bueno Silva. I don't like the way she fights. I don't think she's really done anything that impressive. I could be wrong, but you know, I'm pulling up her stats right now. I'm pulling up the side by side.
I mean,
Raquel Pennington beat her and made it look easy.
She fought Raquel Pennington for the title.
I mean, she's 4 inches shorter. She's got a 5.5 inch reach difference. Chiasson is just like the bigger fighter.
But she doesn't really do anything.
It's a women's fight. No offense, but like, do most of these women's fighters do anything? Like,
I mean, I just think Macy Chiasson is like not really. I don't like. What's she gonna do? She's not gonna fight for the title. I don't think she's a contender. So it's like,
well, no. I don't think that's the case.
Mayra Bueno Silva, she's already fought for the title once. I think she's on track to get another chance at fighting for a title. I don't think she's going to win it, but I think she's definitely on track to get another chance. And I think we can say the women's bantamweight division's pretty weak, or like
it's trash. Let's just call it what it is.
It's not a great division. It was held up by Amanda Nunes for years and years and years. Juliana Pena won it one time. She thought she was the face of the division. She got clobbered. We all know it was Amanda Nunes. And now we got Raquel Pennington. And I love Raquel Pennington. I really do love Raquel Pennington. I'd like to see her be champion for a while. I think she's going to be champion until she faces not Holly Holm. What's her name? Kayla Harrison. And I think Kayla Harrison's probably going to be the next Amanda Nunes and run that division for a while until Amanda Nunes decides she wants to come back. If she decides she wants to come back, they're going to have a super fight. It's going to be great. I think Amanda Nunes probably wins.
And then you know what? I'll leave it at this.
So that's the women's bantamweight division in a nutshell for the next 5 years, guys. That's literally what's going to happen.
Yeah, I'll leave it at this. The bantamweight division's trash. I'm not betting on a fighter that got outstruck by Holly Holm. I'm not doing it. Like, yeah, I can't. It's literally like it's Macy Chiasson or I'll never bet a women's fight again. And like I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But she looked strong against Pannie Kianzad.
Pannie Kianzad's nice. I like Pannie Kianzad.
And she looked real tough against her. And I know, look, she got knocked out late against Irene Aldana.
She got knocked out by the upkick against Irene Aldana.
That's right. But she beat Norma Dumont. Like Macy Chiasson, she's not the worst.
She's not bad. I mean, she got murdered by Amanda Nunes.
Well, I guess that's a concern. Do you think
by Amanda Nunes?
Do you think that Macy Chiasson gets murdered? If you think she's going to get murdered, then you obviously bet against her. I just don't see.
I think she gets submitted by Mayra Bueno Silva.
I don't see that. I disagree.
Part of her skill set, where Mayra Bueno Silva is really good on the ground.
She's good on the ground, but she's going up against someone who's tall and lanky, and I just don't know if. Remember when Peter Yan and Sean O'Malley fought, and everybody thought that Peter Yan was going to take Sean O'Malley's back? And don't get me wrong, we can argue. But look, we can argue day and night how that fight went. But at the end of the day, Peter Yan did not submit Sean O'Malley.
No, he didn't submit him. He took him down 5 times
and did nothing. And that's my concern. Is Mayra Bueno Silva going to take down Macy Chiasson and do nothing for 15 minutes? Because if that's the case, it's not going to be close. But if Macy Chiasson can just show a little bit of effort and keep it on the feet, I have her winning this one all day, every day.
That's fair. I'm taking Mayra Bueno Silva on this one.
It's a coin. This is another coin toss flip. And to be fair, that's kind of what the odds makers make of this. But
yeah,
I just don't see. I don't get the hype between Mayra Bueno Silva. I really don't. I don't like her fighting style. I don't think she's really fought anyone that good. I don't think she's beaten anybody that good either. At least I can say for Macy Chiasson that she's at least fought decent competition.
Mm.
And I think that experience comes in play. That's just my take. But
it's a fair take. I don't think it's a bad take. I think it's fair.
Yeah, and I mean, look, and again, I don't care what the victory. I will give you this credit. If you like Mayra Bueno Silva, you want to take her by submission and get 3-1 odds. Very solid play, very solid bet. Can't blame you. I like Macy Chiasson. I don't think she's going to get the finish. I think it's a decision play. I'll take it at plus 165. I'll take an even money girl, get her by decision because it's a women's fight. Most of them go to decision anyways. Take the money. So we'll hope it hits, but God only knows. It's a women's bantamweight fight. God only knows.
One that's I don't think that one's super close. I think just where both fighters are at in the trajectory of their careers, it's really just one fighter is going towards the top and the other fighter is just kind of stuck in limbo land. So
that's fair.
Yeah.
All right, we're hour and a half in. We got 3 more fights.
Almost done, brother. Yeah,
All right, bro.
marathon today.
Now we're getting into the real shit now, though.
Let's go.
Light heavyweight. Excuse me, not lightweight. Light heavyweight. No, trust me, we're gonna get into that shit. Light heavyweight bout. It's number 10. This was the fight we mentioned earlier in the episode, folks, that we said it went from a black fight to a white fight. Anthony Lionheart Smith, the number 10 ranked light heavyweight, former number 1 contender of the world, 38-19 record. He's a 120 underdog against short notice 5th replacement Roman Dolidze, 12-3 minus 142 record.
That's crazy.
That is absurd.
He's the favorite to win coming in on short notice.
That is correct. He is a betting favorite. Anthony Smith coming off of a submission win against Vitor Petrino. And Roman Dolidze is also coming off of a win, I want to say. Or he's coming off of
he was coming off of a loss. I
think he is. That's right. Nasruddin Imavov beat him by decision. It was close.
I don't think that one was it was a majority decision.
So I'll start it with this. I forget the betting trends. I don't really have that tonight, folks, because we had a lot of fights to go over. Here's what I'll say, though. Roman Dolidze coming in on short notice, coming in with nothing to lose. If he wins, he gets a ranked spot in the light heavyweight division. Anthony Lionheart Smith fighting for relevance, fighting for another championship run. Sam, Spaceman. Do we back the Lionheart, or is he an old man with dreams and aspirations that are willing to die?
All right, so I'm gonna put it to y'all this way. So it's gonna go one of 2 ways. So Anthony Smith has one weakness. He has one glaring weakness, and it's his legs. His legs are shot. So if Dolidze can target his legs early, take away that from him, take away his legs from him, he's gonna win the fight. It's that simple. He takes away his legs. He hits him with a bunch of leg kicks. He probably only needs 3 good leg kicks. Get him in there. Take the legs away. He wins the fight. Might win the fight but Lionheart has one of the craziest chins of all time. Literally, the guy got his teeth punched out, and he still kept fighting. The dude's an absolute animal. That's why he's called Lionheart. He's just a straight up animal. So I love Anthony Lionheart Smith. He's one of my favorite fighters ever, for sure. Dude's a dog. He's a straight dog. I'd like to see him win, and I think he can win. I mean, like I just said, Roman Dolidze is coming off of 2 losses. He lost to Marvin Vettori and Nasruddin Imavov. And then before that, he was on a 4-fight winning streak. But I'm just not super excited. I don't think on short notice he comes up and he beats Anthony Lionheart Smith. I mean, it's possible. He does have crazy power, and he has pretty good wrestling. So the possibility of him winning is there. But I also think that you don't want to take it to the ground with Lionheart because he's a much more dangerous fighter on the ground. I just can't, in good consciousness, pick Roman Dolidze to beat Anthony Smith on short notice at a new weight class too. It's just that's a super ballsy pick. And I have no problem making big balls picks at all whatsoever because I do it all the time. That's why I'm the Spaceman. But
yeah, your picks are out there. That's why I call you the Spaceman. Your picks sometimes your picks are just out there, and I go, "What the hell is this guy thinking?" But
thinking out in another stratosphere. But yeah, I'm gonna go with my man Lionheart I like him by submission in this one too. So I got finish.
That's out there. Lionheart by submission. That's out there. That I can't.
Even by KO. By KO is kind of crazy.
Although, look, Lionheart has 15 subs. That's not out there. It's not. And he won his last fight by guillotine. That's not insane.
He's like
God.
2-1 in his career. For like every 2 fights he wins, he loses one. So it's basically on par for him to win another fight before he loses.
Yeah, this one. I mean, look, Lionheart is like barely above 50% as an underdog, at least in his last 7 or 6. Like, it seems like he loses one, he wins one, he loses one, he wins one as an underdog. Roman Dolidze, short notice. I think short notice fighters have like a 30% win rate coming in. I mean, it is Vegas, and I think that plays a factor into it too. God, I'm going against you here. I'm actually leaning Roman Dolidze, but this is also like, I'm going to sound a lot like the Michelle Watterson Gomez situation. So maybe you might talk me off the ledge here, but I just don't know if I could bet on Anthony Smith. I just don't know if I can do it. Roman Dolidze.
Anthony Smith.
You know what it is? I don't believe Anthony Smith is going to be able to take Roman Dolidze down and choke him out easily. This is a fight that I think could just stay on the feet. And I think it's like you said, Anthony Smith's legs are the weakness. I think Dolidze could take advantage of that. And I think if it stays on the feet because of those precautions, Dolidze is fair game. He could win this one. I think he's a betting favorite for a reason. He's won. I know recently he had 2 decision losses to a Nazardine Imavov and Marvin Vettori, but those are 2 types of fighters that like they played the decision game, they played the long game, especially Marvin Vettori.
Yeah, Marvin Vettori's mad heavy on the wrestling.
But you got the other guys who are actually willing to scrap: a Jack Hermanson, Phil Hawes, Kyle Dawkins. All 3 of those, he knocked out all 3 of those dudes. I think Anthony Lionheart Smith, for better or worse, with the Lionheart, this is not the guy you want to scrap up against. No, especially late in the fight. Roman Dolidze, I could see him knocking him out.
I don't see it going the distance. Like
I don't
have this fight going the distance at all. And I really, like I said, if Dolidze targets the legs early, my only problem with Roman Dolidze is he has terrible cardio. Like, he gasses out all the time. Every single fight he's been in, if he doesn't win in the first like round and a half, you get to like the later half of the second round, he's gassed.
Yeah, you know what? I'm glad you mentioned that. This is like,
he has zero cardio, and I don't think his cardio is going to hold up in a new weight class on short notice.
No, you know what? And I was going to make a different fight the pick, but now I'm literally going to change it. This is going to be my over-under play, and I'm glad you said something because I think you just made me change my pick. But this is going to be my over-under play. Under 2.5 rounds, minus 120.
Yeah.
Essentially a pick 'em with Smith versus Dolidze. Because you're absolutely right. Dolidze's cardio is shit.
Dog. Yo, it's dookie, bro. It's straight trash. Like, every fight, I'm like, yo, when the last couple fights I picked him to win, I'm like, yeah, he's on a win streak. He's been looking so good. He's just tapping guys out left and right. He's beating the brakes off of dudes. This guy's fire. Roman Dolidze, he's a Georgian cannon, bro. Georgia has some insane fighters, bro. Georgia's sick. Usually I can count on my Georgians like 90% of the time to get the job done. But it's like he doesn't train cardio at all. And it drives me insane. It drives me absolutely nuts.
I think he gasses himself. I think he tries to knock people out in the early game. Yeah, and that's the concern. This is why this is going to be now. You know what? And I'm glad you really convinced me.
Yeah, bro.
This is going to be
that's what I'm here for.
Look, I like Roman Dolidze here, but I like him by finish. This is not going the distance. Roman Dolidze by finish is plus 185 because I could just see this being, if this is especially an early scrap, or if Dolidze's just going to go out there and fucking go for it, I could see him getting it. I could really see him clipping Smith. I could see this being a back and forth. And Delizzi's cardio is going to give because I could see Smith fucking getting him in the later end of it too.
Yeah, I mean, he beat Vitor Petrino, who's like a very similar style of fighter. Petrino's a finisher, right? He's a strong guy, young kid. Delizzi's not as young as Vitor Petrino, so Vitor Petrino, he has time to like bounce back. He's still raw, but the thing is, like, Petrino's a heavy striker, right? Especially especially with the mitts. So he's a power puncher, and that's kind of how Delizzi is. They have a very similar fighting style, but Petrino he's not big on the wrestling like Delizzi is. But
yeah, and look, Delizzi, he's a big decision.
Smith, you can't do it.
It's weird. You either get Delizzi by like decision, and it's a coin toss on whether he wins. More often than not, he loses.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see this one going the distance, and when it doesn't, it's usually more often than not, it's an early finish.
Yeah,
first round finish, late or like. I mean, I know Jack Hermanson was a late second round, but still under that 2.5 number that we're getting here. And I just think Anthony Smith, same vein. Like, Anthony Smith is not a guy that wants this one to go to decision. And this is a guy, too, that, like, he doesn't look good going the distance. Anthony Smith, I think, is going to want to get this guy out early.
Yeah, I think
and he's going to want to make a statement win. So I love the under 2.5 round here. That's going to be my over-under bet, confirmed, for the main card at least. All right, and I have no other comments there. We're different sides on the fighter, but I think we found a line to agree under the 2.5.
Yeah, under 2.5. Yeah, I'm with that.
All right, I'm interested to get your take here, but let's go. Co-main event now. Now it is a lightweight fight because somebody couldn't make weight in time. But he weighed in on time. He made weight. So I can't give him too much shit. He did technically make weight, but it is the number 3rd ranked featherweight in a lightweight fight. Brian T. City Ortega. He's 16-3, won no contest. He's going up against short notice Diego Lopez, number 14th ranked featherweight. Diego Lopez apparently was on par to make weight at featherweight. It was T City that had the issue. Supposedly because he was prepping for a lightweight fight and then got told short notice it was featherweight, couldn't make it. I don't know how much I believe in that.
Yeah, it sounds corny to me.
It really does. That sounds like some Tracy Cortez, I'm sorry, bullshit. I don't know. But, like, Diego Lopez is he's a betting favorite, minus 135. They're both coming off of wins.
TC looked nice in that last win.
He looked real clean. So did Diego Lopez, though. I lost money on Diego Lopez, but I got to say, he made me bite my words last time. So
my brother, Diego Lopez, is a mauler. He is a straight, just hand to God killer. Like,
you know what? I'm glad you said that. T City or nothing all day, baby.
Oh, yo, listen.
Give me my dog of the card.
I love T City to death.
Brian Ortega.
I love T City, but I bet against Diego Lopez twice, and every time I bet against Diego Lopez, he proves me wrong. I think T City is the better all-around fighter, but I don't know because Diego Lopez, he's slick on the ground. He has submission skills. His power is just unbelievable.
I'm not
ridiculous.
betting
Diego Lopez. I think he's the future of the division. So I hate to do it. I really, it's hard for me in my heart. I love T City to death. I do. This is hard for me to say, but I can't in good conscience bet against Diego Lopez again.
I'm not betting against the guy that almost tapped out Volkanovski. I'm not doing it.
I get
Diego Lopez might be a bit. Okay, look, here's the problem. I made this argument, but it was Sadiq Youssef. But I will gladly make this
You can
argument.
make that argument for T-City all day. T-City is nasty.
No. My argument is this. Diego Lopez, this is too much of a step up.
I mean, it is. It's Diego Lopez, if he wins this fight, that's crazy. That's crazy. Like, this is the crazy.
If Diego Lopez wins, he's the truth.
Card. If Diego Lopez wins, he might just be on par to challenge for. If he wins this fight, he's probably going to challenge for a title.
I agree.
After Max Holloway's challenging for a title, and I think
100% agree.
Lopez, I think he loses to Ilia Topuria, but I think he brings a staunch challenge to Ilia Topuria because he has the submission game and he has crazy power. I think Ilia Topuria beats him in wrestling all day, every day. I think Ilia Topuria is the best well-rounded fighter in the entire featherweight division. He has crazy power, he has insane grappling, and he has nasty wrestling. You have all three of those. You're a well-rounded fighter. That's like John Jones. That's how people like John Jones became successful. So,
but here's my concern: the lightweight move. That's a big thing.
It's a big jump.
That's especially for a Diego Lopez who.
It was a career featherweight. You know what I'm saying?
Career featherweight. He gets an extra 10 pounds. I don't know if he looks like he belongs there. Brian T-City, he gets the extra 10 pounds. That guy fits in.
Yeah. I
that
agree
guy
with
is
you.
still knocking people out at the lightweight. Diego Lopez, I don't know if he's as strong or as much of a threat at lightweight.
You don't think the power carries up? I think the power carries up.
It does for certain. I think it does for certain people. I don't know if it does for Diego Lopez.
I know.
It's like think of it like Sean O'Malley. If Sean O'Malley moves up a weight, do you think he's as big of a striker if he goes up against a fucking Volk? Or if he goes up, if it's Sean O'Malley and Max Holloway, do you know how scared I am for both of them? Because I don't know if Max Holloway gets knocked out, but I know Sean O'Malley will get rocked.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm making. Like I'm not talking like it depends on the fighter. Like truthfully, I think when John Jones went to heavyweight, that was a concern people had. It was is his weight going to carry up? Is he going to be able to knock people down? And all? But you know who he got? He got a Cyril Gane. Let him do that shit.
Cyril Gane's sick though.
Cyril Gane's sick, but let John Jones do what he did to Cyril Gane. But let him do that against Alexander Volkov or Sergey. Let him do that against Sergey.
Sergey Pavlovich.
Yeah, let him do that against Sergey.
Pavlovich, though. Pavlovich is having some mental crisis right now.
I don't know.
I don't know how he lost to Volkov. That's crazy.
I don't know if my point's getting across, but his weight could carry up, but how much of an impact does it really have? That's my concern. And with this thing, the lightweight, I'd rather take T-City, and especially if I'm getting him plus money.
Yeah, I think this is a crazy jump up in competition for Diego Lopez, but just based on his last couple fights, it's hard for me to bet against a guy that just knocks everyone clean out.
Yeah, and look, Ortega could be his next victim. I just don't see it. This is my dog on the main card. Out of everybody,
I want to see Brian Ortega get knocked out, man. I really don't. I love Brian Ortega. It would make me feel that would hurt my heart, but I think he's in danger of getting knocked out.
Well, yeah, I think that goes without saying. That's why this is the fucking co-main. I think this is the fight where it's like there's going to be violence, and you just have no idea.
You have no idea. That's exactly it.
Like I'll be losing my shit to this one, but
yeah, I'm locked in. This is going to be a sick fight.
Yes, sir. All right. Now, speaking of locked in, we got one last fight we got to go through. Then we'll give out our best plays one more time, and then we'll call it a night. But it is the light heavyweight championship of the world. Alex Poatan Pereira, the reigning, defending Shama champion, 10-2 MMA record, going up against the fucking Czech samurai, number one ranked light heavyweight, Yuri Prohaska. 34-1 MMA record. He's a plus 124 underdog. Pereira minus 148. Both of them coming off of knockout wins, like I
You said
mentioned
34
before.
and 1, isn't he like 34 and 2?
One.
What?
I'll double check. But
that's absurd.
34. Yeah, 34 and 1. One draw.
What? That's insane. Prohaska's insane, bro.
Prohaska is claiming that there is magic afoot in this fight, and that's the only reason Pereira is winning. He asked him to not use magic and fight him like a. He said, "Don't use magic and fight me like a man."
I thought you were saying he's 34 wins and 1 loss.
Oh no, 34 and 1.
Yeah, no. Okay. We're on the same. Yeah, all right. Yep. We're there. locked in.
We're locked in. All right, this is the main event. I got 3 picks for this, specifically for this fight.
You all know what I'm gonna say.
So I'll start with this. The over-under was set at 1.5. I'm going over. It was minus 150. This was my over-under play. I actually really loved the over 1.5. I'm pretty sure Pereira went into the second round in his last fight against Jamal Hill. Could be wrong, but
I thought I clipped him in the first.
I'm double checking because again I could.
Yeah, I'm a double check too.
You're right. It was the first round. Excuse me.
Yeah, he beat him at the end of the first. It
was Yuri. Yuri went, I think, into late in the second, or it was the third.
No, it was the second for sure. He knocked out what's his name, Rakic.
Yeah, and the last time these two fought, it was late in the second. Pereira knocked out Yuri.
Yeah,
but actually, it was crazy. But for Pereira, the last fight was like his first round knockout since I think 2022 when he knocked out Sean Strickland. Every other fight I think maybe not. Or actually, yeah, no, it has. Every other fight for Alex Pereira has gone over this over-under total. He's either gone to decision or he's knocked him out later in the later rounds. And this is like such a low over-under total that I think it's insane that we're getting. And the odds, too, only minus 150. Like, if it was a minus 200, minus 230 over-under, I'd say maybe tease it up to get the value. But Pereira's first fight went into the second round, early knockout. He took Izzy, 5th round knockout, late. Sean Strickland, he knocked out round 1. But then it was Bruno Silva with the decision. Yuri was a late second round knockout. Decision against Jan Blachowicz. Izzy knocked him out late in the second. Like this, like as much as we expect for fireworks and like an early knockout first thing, I think UFC 300 was a one-off for Pereira where like that was just like a crazy, like that was a crazy highlight footage moment where you pushed Herb Dean away. And then you just Herb, no, I got him. Boom. That's it. Night dipshit. Like that's a one-off. More times often than not, even statistically, like he doesn't get the early finish. And same with Yuri. I don't think Yuri's going to come in guns a-blazing and go for the early finish. Yuri is like the controlled, patient one. I don't see this one going the distance by all means, but over or under when it's only 1.5 rounds. Literally this, I know on FanDuel, I don't know if other books will offer this, but there are offers where you could bet a fighter and you could bet it with them going into the second round. And I just think that's easy money. Mm-hmm. Like almost all but guaranteed that it will go into the second round.
I got that. I'm sticking with my man, Poatan, for the knockout.
As one does.
Probably doing second round again. It might even go to the third this time. It might go to the later rounds, but I really don't see this one going past like 2.5 rounds. I got Pereira by knockout. I just think, I love Yuri, right? And I think he's a great fighter, but it's not like he's changed that much as a fighter in what? Since they fought. When did they fight? It was like 6 months ago.
Who? Yuri and...
Was it last year?
It was almost last year. It was like less than a year ago.
Yeah. It was like, well, let me look this up. All right, November 11th, 2023. So there's November. We're in July. That's like 8 months, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. Yeah, 8 months. So how much is he really going to change? I mean, Prohaska just fought. He looked good. He looked a little rusty in the first round, but he looked good as the fight went along. But you can't compare Alexander Rakic to like Alex
No,
Pereira.
no, I
Alex
wouldn't
Pereira
even.
is like the best. He's hands down the best striker in the UFC. Right up there. I put like him, Adesanya, MVP, Ian Gary, Dustin Jacoby, like just pure strikers, right? We're just talking about like pure strikers based off of just striking skill. Um, those are probably like my top five, and four of those guys were all glory kickboxers. So it's like you'll put a world champion kickboxer like Yuri Prohaska's sick. Don't get me wrong, and he's an amazing fighter. He has the wrestling. If he tries to take it to the ground and really use all his skills, like his wrestling, his grappling, his striking, then I think he has a much better chance of winning this fight. But if he just tries to keep it on the feet, I think he's really putting himself at a disadvantage because the power advantage obviously goes to Alex Pereira. And I think the striking advantage goes to Pereira. And I think he probably, if we're being honest, he's probably in Yuri Prohaska's head. Or else Yuri Prohaska wouldn't be talking about magic.
Maybe.
It's hard to get in that guy's head though. He's a stone cold guy. I love Yuri Prohaska, don't get me wrong. But Alex Pereira is my man, so I got him by the finish. Probably like second, third round knockout. I just feel real comfortable with that one. That's probably my best
Second
bet.
round knockout for Pereira.
A repeat. Or it could go distance. I mean, we've never seen Pereira go the full 5 rounds. So we don't know what his cardio is like. Generally he's had like really good cardio. Like from watching his kickboxing fights, they have gone like longer. So a couple of those fights went the distance, and he's definitely had the cardio to hold up in kickboxing. So I think he would have the cardio to hold up in a 5-round MMA fight, but who's to really say? It's speculation at best. But yeah, I mean, Poaton's my man. He's definitely my favorite fighter for sure, and he's definitely like the next superstar. So I think he stays light heavyweight champion for a while, and I don't know. This fight could set up a trilogy fight, just depending on the way it goes.
Right.
But yeah, I just don't see anything so different about Prohaska's fighting style that he's gonna bring into this fight to make me believe that he's gonna win the fight.
Yeah. I'm going to make the same argument the other way around. I'm going Yuri on the upset because I think really what it is for me, it's the God, what the fuck's the word do I want to use? I'm nonconformist, I think is the word. Everybody and their mother is picking Alex Pereira to win the rematch. Everyone and their mother has been making the same arguments. Everyone and their mother is just saying Alex Pereira is too good. Yuri's just not on that level. Like, I disagree with that last notion. Yuri Prohaska.
I disagree with that too. Yuri Prohaska is that guy. Like, don't get me wrong. He is that guy.
There's only one other man, if I was Alex Pereira, if it wasn't Israel Adesanya, there's only one other man I'm afraid of fighting. It's Yuri Prohaska.
Facts.
Every other person, I think I'd pick Alex all day, every day. Yuri is coming back for revenge. Yuri looked a lot better against Alexander Rakic than I think people give him credit for.
Yeah.
Alex, no offense, it was Jamal Hill, and one of the big questions against the Jamal Hill fight was Jamal Hill really that guy? We kind of found out real fucking quick. I don't think he was.
No.
And considering like his next fight was against a Khalil Roundtree, that kind of tells you a lot. Yeah. Now it's Yuri versus Poatan, which I think is a phenomenal fight. I think it's great for both these guys. Yuri is still a scary motherfucker, and I'm not counting him out just because it's Poatan. Like, I think a lot of people are. I'm not saying you just did. Mm-hmm. What I am going to say is, like, Yuri, like, I think recency bias would point towards the rematch. I mean, is he in the rematch versus Poatan? Is he won? I'm trying to think of the other rematches lately. But I think since like 2023, like after Leon versus Kamaru too, like every other rematch has gone to the other side.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of fight I expect that to happen with, where it's like, okay, Yuri's going to get
like Adesanya, Poatan too.
Yeah. And you know, to be honest, like, oh, here we go. Light heavyweight title fight rematches. Jones, Gustafsson, maybe that's a bad example.
I mean, any John Jones fight is a bad example because he didn't lose.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I don't know, but there's no bad pick here. I feel like that's
no, you can't go
There's
wrong.
No bad take. I just don't. I've seen Poatan in this similar situation, and I've heard a lot of the same arguments where, like, he already knocked this dude out once. He's the champ. You know, we've already seen him. We know he's the real deal. I'm not taking that away from him. I'm just saying Izzy came back and knocked his ass out.
Yeah. I think if
I guarantee you, if Sean Strickland got a second chance against Poatan, Strickland would be a much different fighter.
Yeah, but I still think Sean Strickland gets knocked out every time just because of the way Sean Strickland fights.
Oh, that's another debate for another day. I don't know.
Fight like that against a guy like Poatan, you know, you gotta be a lot more technical. And the guy's a missile.
But Yuri is such a crazy mystical fucking fighter.
He is.
I can't discount him. I think Yuri learned the lessons from last time. I think Poatan's going to come in with the same attitude. I just think that I've seen this before with him. I've seen him get knocked out before because of it, and I'm scared it's going to happen again. So, like, it's a lean. I'm not as confident. I like, if I had to lay money on it, which, don't get me wrong, I am on this side, but I'm not laying all the money on Yuri. In fact, more of my money's on that over-under than anything. I think as long as it gets over 1.5, I break even. Anything after that, if I get Yuri right, it's going to be a good night. Otherwise, not so much. But, you know, my handicap here is it's going to be a long, patient fight. I could even see this one going the distance. If you really want to get cute with it and just take an early bet, wouldn't be shocked. Wouldn't be the end of the world if you took two fucking light heavyweight hitters that knock everybody out and it goes the distance. I've seen that before too.
Yeah.
But, yeah, for me, like, I lean Yuri only because the motivation factor I think it might be slightly stronger. That's really it.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good argument for sure. I think Yuri Prochazka, I'm not saying he doesn't have a chance of winning. I'm just saying for him to win is going to take a really specific set of things to occur. And I just don't feel like I don't know if all those things are going to occur in the way that they would need to occur for him to win the fight. I think he's going to focus on striking, and going toe-to-toe striking with a guy like Alex Pereira is always a terrible idea. Like everyone wants to like outstrike him, but no one ever tries to take him down. No one ever tries to do the submission game. It's just there are ways in which you could possibly beat him, right? You could possibly expose like weaknesses or things that aren't stronger points in his game, but people don't look to do that generally. They look to stand and strike with him. And it's like, why? Like, what are you trying to prove that you're like a hardcore because you didn't strike? The only person who can strike with him is Adesanya. And like, I think Dustin Jacoby could stand there and strike with him because he's also at elite level striker. But I think even Dustin Jacoby would get knocked out. Like,
100%.
it's like guys want to fight a kickboxing fight with him, and it's like, dude, you just can't. You can't.
There's only one. I mean, and I'll be honest with you. Like, looking at the stats, significant strikes, 56% to 62. Alex won. 44 to 49 landed out of the 70-72. Alex won. Submission attempts, Alex won. 0. Like, Alex, I mean, to be honest with you, Alex just might be the better fighter, and maybe that's the case. And I think it's going to take this fight to prove it.
Mm-hmm.
That's really it. It's just going to take this fight to prove Alex. If Alex Pereira is the new GOAT, he needs to make this a clear-cut finish no matter what.
Yeah.
He can't leave any room for doubt. Where I think for Yuri, this is like, I don't know if it's his ghost. I don't know if this is like the ultimate challenge, but like, if Yuri can't win here, he'll never get a title again. And it's not because he's not good enough. It's just because the level of competition is too high.
Mm-hmm.
That's really all it comes down to. And for me, I think Yuri is on that level. I think 9 times out of 10, Yuri gets it 6 out of 10 personally with Pereira, but that's my opinion. I could understand arguments the other way. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. I think that's definitely, I definitely agree with that.
Right on. All right, I got one last DeGent parlay to give out, but we'll go over some other shit at another time. Make sure you follow our Twitter page. I'll give out all my UFC 303 plays plus unit sizes for everyone out there. Last parlay, it is, and I quote, Ian, the future, Machado Gary. It is, which one do I want to go with? Give me 2 seconds. 3, 2. Where is my parlay? I know I made it.
Yeah, no, we got it. It's in the bag.
Got it. I know we got it. Macy Chiaison minus 110. Ian Gary minus 158. Give me T City as the underdog plus 118. Plus 580 underdog parlay. Plus 579, $10 wins 66, give or take 67.
Nice.
Not bad. All right, Spaceman Sam. Any final bold out there Spaceman predictions for you?
I mean,
that you want to throw out to the people.
Tune in for some crazy upsets, some big fights, lots of fireworks. This card is definitely going to be one of the better cards for a year. I think the second half of the year, definitely we're going to see much better cards. The first half of the year, there are some good cards in there, but I think since 300, they've really been ramping up. We've been seeing a lot more consistent cards, good fights. Dana's been back on his A game, so I'm looking forward to this one. I hope you guys are too. So
hell yeah, bro.
Tune in tomorrow and see how this thing kicks off.
All right, Spaceman, give me your best bet. Who is your number one pick out of all the fights?
Number one pick, I got Alex Pereira by knockout. Second.
There you go.
Round.
What's your underdog? Who's your biggest dog on the card you want to take?
My biggest underdog is going to be Michael Venom Page. I got Michael Venom Page as my biggest underdog.
Damn, we're going heads up here.
Taking the fight against Ian Gary.
All right, what's your last pick? Give us the third one.
And then I like my guy. Let's go with you know what? Actually, I'll play it kind of safe here. I'm gonna go with Myro Buena Silva, probably by submission. I'm taking her by sub in this one.
There you go. Best bet for big bucks here. I'm going Ian Gary minus 156. Underdog, I'm going Andre Arlovsky plus 210. Last bonus bet, give me the over 1.5 on the main event. Pereira versus Prochazka. With that said, I got nothing left. Sam, do you have anything else, buddy?
All right, brother. That was a good one.
Brother, man, thank you for joining us. Thank you for stepping in for Money Mansman. We'll catch you on the next one. Thank you, DeGents. Thank you for joining us. All the followers, make sure you check us out on YouTube, Twitter, and Spotify. I am Steve Big Bucks Beta. We are signing off.
Spaceman out.
We are out.